Cowboys clobber Cleveland. Micah dominated an overwhelmed Brown squad. 9 pressures, 5 QB hits, 4 tackles. Tip ball led to an interception. Cowboys put up 33. Here's Mike McCarthy.
Excellent win, especially going on the road, coming up here with a great football environment. I thought we started the first half, thought we played well, did little things. Second half was sloppy. So good win. Anytime you win by, 3 scores, and you have a lot to correct. So that's where we're at. But, we talked about being a better road team, and we got off to a good start.
Okay, in the first hour, Brew gave the Cowboys an A for his weekly grade. Were you equally as impressed?
Yeah, I think Brew's credibility as a football professor would have come into question had he not given them an A.
There's only one grade.
I think that they deserve an A in every phase and every facet of the game. I thought that the offense was excellent when it needed to be, and then I thought they went in kill the clock mode, don't make any big mistake and give Cleveland any life. And I've seen teams do that, and the numbers yardage numbers don't look impressive, but I felt like they were in full control. I thought they were better than expected running the ball and just, fine. They weren't dominant running the ball. They didn't do what the Lions did or the Chargers did. They were fine. I thought their defense was utterly dominant. And I do think at this point, we now all need to acknowledge that, and this kind of plays into Brew's tomato cans thing to a degree, but with Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence, when they're both out there, bad offenses are going to get undressed by this Cowboys front. Take. You know what I mean? Like, they are just, their D front can just win a game. The Cowboys' special teams also gets an A. Their coaching gets an A. I thought they were excellent all the way around. And I think that it should be noted that this is a Browns team that last year was very good at home and the best defensive team in the league at home. Now, you and I think they're going to stink this season. I get that. But they didn't think that.
Yeah.
They came into the year saying we won 11 games last year. They were favored, and Vegas had them dead median in the league as far as win expectancy. Vegas ranked them as the 17th best team in a 32-team league. So the definition of average, and I thought the Cowboys truly undressed them. So, yeah, I think you have to be impressed by what they did.
Well, like you said, I gave them an A, the Cowboys, and they deserved it. But Cleveland is a tomato can.
You put them on tomato can.
With Deshaun Watson at quarterback, they're a tomato can. And we'll get to Deshaun. It's a regular season game. The Cowboys are great in the regular season. We all know that the last 3 years under Mike McCarthy. So they did what they should do. But you're right, special teams, Kevontae Turpin, great return. Dak, I don't think was great, but he was good. He was solid. He can play better. We know Dak can play better. But great pass he made for the touchdown to Brandon Cooks. That was phenomenal. And Zeke did look more spry, not just tough, not just, physical, but he looked like he had a little more bounce than I remember the last couple of years. I don't think he's going to have a great year. I thought Tony Pollard, you could have used. He looked good. He looked good for Tennessee. He would be nice with the Cowboys right now. But it was a great win.
Tony Pollard is the new Kyle Trask. You're going to get mentioned more on this show than any show in America.
Look good. And to your point, Nick, no team. That defense is good. Obviously, you got Myles Garrett leading the way. No team went in there and scored 30 points last year.
Yes.
The Cowboys did it. I just think that, and Greg, after when your offense is giving you nothing, especially against a good team, I think that just wears the defense down gradually. And Cleveland, that's what's going to happen to them throughout the course of this season.
Yeah, that's why I was very impressed. And largely because of all the reasons why that one could have potentially had concerns going into this season, into this regular season game opener, with CeeDee Lamb missing time, Dak not being under contract, CeeDee getting his contract, all these things. They came out and they started clicking on all cylinders. Yeah. Against a defense, I don't care what you talk about tomato can offensively.
Offensive linemen for the Cowboys out there.
We didn't mention their offensive linemen. Yep. Myles Garrett made a couple plays early, and then they shored up everything.
Yep. But a rookie center and a rookie left tackle.
They did a great job schematically getting the ball out of Dak's hands, keeping everything off timing. The throw that he made to Cook in the end zone where they were in empty.
He got pressured.
That's why you paid Dak. Like, I don't think people understand. So many quarterbacks know to do that. Not all can actually execute that throw and put it in a position where their receiver doesn't know that ball's in the air, but has time to go and get it where he can only get it. That was impressive. Defensively, they did everything that you could imagine one could do.
Yeah, Mike Zimmer deserves. I mean, two of the best defensive coordinators in football. Jim Schwartz, Mike Zimmer, personnel
on his side defensively, you're going to have a really good defense.
Can I show you a quote from Patrick Walker? Trayvon and Micah Parsons both said you haven't seen anything yet regarding Mike Zimmer's defense. Diggs went as far to say there's 50 sets in Zimmer's playbook. How many did they show in the blowout win versus the Browns? 3. So they got the Saints next week, so it speaks to your point. Like, Saints, Derek Carr looked good all of a sudden. I'm interested to see this defense against
For
all
sure.
of a sudden.
I'm also interested to see in what the much maligned Cowboys running back room does over the course of the year. I am. Listen, I would rather have, if you're like, hey, you can have a league average running back room and below average kicker situation, or bottom 5 running back room and the best kicker in the league. If I'm trying to win a championship, I'd take the latter over the former. I think Aubrey's a legitimate weapon and will help them.
Yeah.
I also think if we can show the, blind reveal, the Cowboys running back room is, maybe a little too much maligned. Brew, who do you think had the better day?
We all know.
What do you
Just
mean?
show it.
What do you mean?
It's one game.
What do you mean? Oh my goodness gracious! Is that Ezekiel Elliott's music? Because I heard Derrick Henry's virtues being extolled all summer.
For the offseason, Derrick Henry was out there.
I am fine with Derrick Henry. Believe me. The Ravens are back to the drawing board. You're going to see a different Derrick Henry. Trust me.
On the other side of the ball.
More carries.
Sean Watson, not great. 24 for 45, less than 170 yards, 2 interceptions. Here he is post-game.
Because it's 17 more weeks. We got 16 more opportunities. It's the NFL. Anything can happen. I started 0-4 in 2018. We won 11 straight, So it's one game at a time. It wasn't a pretty day for us, and, we got to own it as a whole, especially me as the leader of this team and leader of this offense.
That wasn't good. Brew? Jameis time?
Jameis was a dark horse MVP. 2018, that's about Jameis was balling around 2018. I'm going to say not yet with a caveat, meaning I would give him a couple of weeks. Next week, I forgot who they played. Did anybody know who they played?
I had it.
So next week, at Jacksonville. They got Jacksonville next week, and then the Giants. Now Jacksonville is a game you could lose, obviously. Giants, if he doesn't play well against the Giants.
Giants have a good D-line. That's the one thing they've got good.
But still, you got to beat the Giants. Here's where I say with the caveat. If Jameis Winston in practice, like throughout training camp, if it was clear to everybody, Jameis is better, and Deshaun has looked like he's looked in the games in practice, then that's when you might have to make the move now. Because, Greg, I think if the players already were seeing it throughout training camp, Deshaun has had really maybe one good game since he's been in Cleveland over the 13 games, and they're already going into yesterday or certainly after yesterday saying, man, this dude is only playing because of that contract. If they're already saying that, because Jameis, we've seen Jameis as a leader, he seems like he's a better leader than Deshaun. I think you could lose that locker room and it could create dissension and division. That's my caveat. If Jameis has been better in training camp, it might be time already, but I would lean toward giving him a few days, a few more games.
Got to go to Jameis.
Right now?
Got to go to Jameis. Look, I get it. Like you owe this man a lot of money.
I'll get into the money part because I think it's more staggering than people understand.
Like, you owe him a lot of money, so you probably are like, we're not pulling him. But if you're trying to win,
that's correct.
You look at what they were able to do with biggest knock on Joe Flacco is he's going to turn the ball over. Mm-hmm. He's going to throw interceptions. Jameis potential to throw interceptions are there, but his also potential to have success in the passing game, which you have Jerry Jeudy, you have Amari Cooper, you have David Njoku, you have these weapons that can actually get it done in the passing game, and you got a quarterback in Deshaun Watson that's like, I mean, we got 17 more weeks. I mean, it's one game. Yeah, it is.
I thought the Colts were bad too.
But when you look at him,
they were not because of him, but they were 5-1 with him last year.
I understand
before he got
that.
hurt.
And was he playing great?
No,
He
not
had
at all.
one half against